got microphones up here I did not have. Good morning. I'm so glad that you all are here. I know it's a 3-day weekend and it's a little less cold than usual. The weather is not very nice, but I'm so glad you all braved the elements and maybe the traffic, although it's not too bad today, to be here with us this morning. I have a few announcements for you. The first is, and I've been saying this every week, just so you know, my day off is Monday. So I'm not going to hear the church on Monday. If someone asks you why I'm not here, you can let them know. But I'm in the office the rest of the week. I'm out and about often, so if you would like to get a hold of me, my email and phone number are in the bulletin, or as always, Erica can tell you where I am. She keeps track of me. I'm just letting you know that Sunday school will be down. Daily Hall is doing a modified program this morning. So let me say, Brother Smith, if you want to head down there, there's some fun activities planned for you. You'll notice that in the bulletin there is a service tomorrow on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And it's still at 4 and it's still happening, but the location has changed. The Andy Zion Church suffered a furnace issue. So the service will now be at East Methodist Church at 41 Mill Road. It's still at 4. I'll still be there as will all the Lexington clergy, but it has changed location. So don't forget that. And now I know Rich has an announcement for us.
Okay, a meeting of the congregation and the corporation of the West Hampton Presbyterian Church has been called for next Sunday, January 27, 2019, immediately after worship, for the following purposes: to hear the annual reports from 2018 from the various boards and committees of this church, to hear the report of the church nominating committee, which includes nominees to fill vacancies that exist on various boards for 2019, to receive and review the final church operating budget for 2019, and to attend to any other business that may come before the congregation or the corporation at that time. Thank you.
Riveting stuff. I know you don't want to miss it. But in all seriousness, it is important to the work and ministry of this church, so we encourage you to be there with us. It's my first meeting, too, so make your church look good to show up. Are there any other announcements from anyone? Anything I've forgotten? Then, friends, on this cold and rainy day, let the warmth of God's presence be with us this morning in worship. Please rise and join me in this morning's call to worship. Our God has made us to be one body with many members. God calls us to share our diverse gifts activated by the one and same Spirit. God longs for us to be united in love and to manifest the Spirit in our different ways. Let us gather in this hour to offer praise and worship to our holy God, who challenges us and calls us to create the beloved community. join me in this morning's prayer of confession. Oh God, we long to co-create with you the beloved community, which looks to the common good, privileges all equally, and creates societal systems which celebrate humanity and the gifts of all. And that we focus on our differences, envy each other's gifts, the valued manifestations of you, O God, that are not like our own. To build with God the beloved community seems impossible, and we grow weary. We find ourselves on the path of hatred and oppression, violence and war. and brothers, God is at work in us and with us. God has promised, I will not keep silent and I will not rest until the vindication of my beloved people shines out like the dawn and their salvation like a burning torch. My people shall no more be termed forsaken, and their land shall no more be termed desolate. You remember that you have given your beloved people a new name. My delight is in them. Amen. Behind us, peace under our feet, Christ within us, Christ over us, let all around us be Christ. Let us now share with one another the peace of Christ. Right, now I don't see a whole lot of you, but any young friends that would like to come down front for our tourist time, awesome. You're now going to come. That's a lot of tourists in there, right? This could take a little while. We got some orders to add. All right. Keep going, buddy. You're doing a great job. Awesome. Is that a Beyblade? Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. I'm so glad you're here this morning. I actually could use a little help. Tucker, you want to help me? This morning we're going to hear about Jesus. I need you to come hold it. Now, what? There you go. This morning we're hearing about a miracle that Jesus does, including water. Now we're going to see what Tucker's holding. It says water in kind of a funny script here. Okay? And one of the things I often think about water is in the shower. So we kind of got the shower coming down. We got rain today, so you know that there's lots of water in the air. And what Jesus does is he changes water into wine. Everyone see that? A little fancy graphic for it here. We went from water to wine, and now we're falling into the wine glass. You want to close up there? There we go. Okay? And what this miracle does isn't just giving us wine to drink. It changes how we look at Jesus. Just like when we look at this and see something different, it changes how we look at that. So I want us to keep that in mind this morning. It's not just about the special things that Jesus does, it's also about how it changes what we think and what we see. You're doing a great job, Tyler. This car, all right, so let's do our prayer together. You guys ready? You got to help me out, there's only 3 of you. Okay, you can set this down. Thank you so much. Thank you, my wonderful cousin, for drawing that. I'm a terrible artist. All right, and you all have to pray with us, because there's only 4 of us up here this morning, okay? Ready? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is Our gospel reading this morning is from the book of John, chapter 2, verses 1 to 11. On the third day there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what concern is that to you and to me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now standing there were 6 stone water jars for Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to them, "Fill the jars with water," and they filled them up to the brim. He said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the chief steward." So they took it. When the steward tasted the water that had become wine and did not know where it came from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew, the steward called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and then the inferior wine after the guests have become drunk. But you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this, the first of his signs in Cana of Galilee, and revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Let us pray. Holy God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. If you were here a couple weeks ago, my first Sunday here, we celebrated Epiphany. And we usually remember it as the time when the Magi visit Jesus and his parents after he was born. The Magi follow a star to the baby and present gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. That's just a recap to those of you who might not have been here. This week I was reading a commentary on Epiphany, and I learned some really interesting things about the season that I didn't know before. This year is unique in that all the themes of this ancient festival, Epiphany, take place in the month of January. Epiphany was started in Alexandria, Egypt in the 2nd century AD in response to the many Greek festivals that tended to center around the winter solstice. Many astute people already know that we celebrate right around the solstice, too, on Christmas. These festivals in the ancient world noted the star of Sirius at the time of the solstice. They drew water from the Nile for ceremonial washing and celebrated the birth of the god Dionysus, the god of wine. Christians picked up on these themes and fashioned their own celebrations. Gospel stories about a star, water, Jesus' baptism last week, and wine that are now connected to Jesus' birth, Jesus' baptism, and Jesus' miracle at the wedding of Cana, our story today. Some people become uncomfortable or even upset when they hear that these celebrations aren't Christian in origin, and they're drawn from other cultural resources. I, however, find it a little bit unrealistic to believe that any religion or any belief exists in a vacuum. I find it a wonderful opportunity to make connections between our traditions today and the ancient people who lived at the same time as Jesus. I think it's pretty neat that we celebrate the same festivals, perhaps a little differently, that Jesus and his followers celebrated. So far, we have taken note of the Magi who track and follow a star. We've read about the baptism of Jesus in the waters of the Jordan River, and we've recalled and reaffirmed our own baptism. This week, we hear about a wedding that Jesus attends and commits one of the cardinal sins of any function: it runs out of wine. This event is often called the first sign, and it stands out in some ways from the many different miracles that Jesus performed. And one of the ways that it does this is that this is the only sign in which someone's health or safety or life is not at stake. Unlike the healings or the exorcisms or even the stilling of the storm or the feeding of the 5,000, no one is in danger at this wedding party. And Jesus performs this sign for simply the joy of it, and also to appease his mother. To be sure, wine in those days was safer than water, as the alcohol in the wine would neutralize most of those nasty little microorganisms. But the guests who didn't want to drink water would have simply left and gone home. No one would have been in peril. There was no dire need for this miracle. Its inclusion here seems to have more to do with its value as a sign than for a practical reason. Providing good wine at a feast is an echo of what we hear in Isaiah 25:6-7. On this mountain the Lord of hosts will make for all peoples a feast of rich food, a feast of well-aged wine, or a feast filled with marrow, of well-aged wine strained clear. And he will destroy on this mountain the shroud that is cast over all people, the sheet that is spread over all nations. He will swallow up death forever. This imagery of a feast of food and wine where death is destroyed should sound familiar to us as symbolic of the Messiah, where we are given gifts of bread, wine, and triumph over death. For Jesus to begin his public ministry by providing good wine at a wedding banquet is a sign that he has come to fulfill the role of the Messiah. We hear that his disciples believed in him because of this sign. This is more than just them simply acknowledging his remarkable abilities. It's a recognition of his vocation, of who he is, of the purpose he has come to serve that we talked about last week. We know from hearing this story before that this recognition by the disciples will be tested, that they will struggle with it in the events to come. But John strongly implies that the disciples already know Jesus is the Messiah from the very beginning, unlike all the other Gospels where that discovery is blurted out by Peter much later on. Most weddings are a gathering where we celebrate people coming together to join themselves in a special bond. It's a time of joy. But perhaps it's not such a surprise that this miracle is at a wedding and is an outbreak of joy that serves as a sign of the presence of the Messiah. It also takes something ordinary and common, water, and changes the way that people look at it. It sets it in a new context. It opens up a new set of goals and possibilities. And it increases enjoyment as this good wine is shared among friends and companions. This invites us to consider how the ordinary and common parts of us and our lives are set into a different context. The new possibilities that God opens before us, and how striving to embody these ideals in our own lives might also bring out the joy for us in our relationships, and the shared well-being that signifies that Christ is among us. We have many opportunities for our ordinary actions to become occasions of extraordinary grace, to invite people to go out and engage in ministries as a joyful sign of Jesus. This reading also comes at the time of year when we observe the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King is a hero and an inspiration, and a name that always comes to my mind whenever someone asks, does God still send us prophets? He was a man sent from God, showered us with gifts, who will always be remembered for his eloquent and powerful way with words, and his deep and always present commitment to nonviolence as the ultimate form of Christian resistance to injustice. Dr. King was faithful to this idea of nonviolent resistance and considered it to be the way of Jesus, even in the face of violence directed against him by nice Christian Americans. As each year goes by, we remember Dr. King with our programs and sermons and singing, and hopefully in our ever-continuing commitment to justice for all of God's children. It seems that we often lift this prophet up high, as we do many others, to make him singular and special, which misses the whole point. Instead, I see the time of Dr. King's birthday or this time of year as a good opportunity. It's a great way to begin a new year with our own commitment to the vision of Jesus, who practiced compassion and justice throughout his life. Our gospel story today tells us about an everyday and extraordinary deed of Jesus and his mother, simply responding to ordinary human needs. Yes, Jesus performs a miracle, but he does it with the simplest of things, water. And God continues to work through the simplest of things, water, wine, bread, and people. I believe that Dr. King, while a great and gifted man, a prophet even, These things that we too can do with the gifts that God has given us. I believe that there are everyday gifted people who are responding to human needs, using the gifts that God has given them, because everything we have received, according to Paul, is something we have received from God. And we have a responsibility to use those gifts to meet human needs, to work for a better and more beautiful world, to bring joy, to speak for those who have no voice, and to make sure the voiceless are heard, to stand with those who are stepped on and pushed away, to walk with those who are making their way to a better place. This morning we hear about Jesus' first sign in the Gospel of John, a joy-filled miracle, a work of wonder, but also a simple act of providing what was needed at the time. So I ask, what is needed at this time in our world? What are these everyday people with a syphilis of gifts going to give? Whether we are called to offer up our lives for the gospel, to live that out in everyday acts of compassion and justice, whether we choose to use the abundant gifts that have been given to us, is up to us. We are ordinary, flawed, and broken human beings, but we are also capable of extraordinary and courageous acts. Just like Jesus who took on human form, we too are capable of great things, and it is up to us to decide whether or not we will do them. Amen. We now have some time to lift up in prayer the things that bring joy into our lives, as Jesus' miracle did, but also those things we hold up in prayer because we need the support and love of this community. I was told very recently, and haven't had much of a chance to follow up, that John Conley is in the hospital with pneumonia. Yes, and we know at 102 that pneumonia is a big deal anyway, but that's certainly something that is a real struggle for him. So I haven't been able to visit or connect with him yet, but we lift him up in prayer this morning. Please send your thoughts and your prayers, and if possible, connect with him. Yes, please.
He is making slow, steady improvement,
Oh,
and
good.
he'll be moving to the care center on Tuesday.
Wonderful. Thank you. I knew someone would have an update. Thank you, Eloise. So he's making slow and steady progress, and will be at the Westminster Care Center on Tuesday. That's wonderful news. So again, continue to hold him in prayer, and if possible, connect with him. Are there any other joys or concerns that anyone would like to lift up this morning?
My friends in Ireland, Carla and Stephanie Flanagan, they both lost their fathers in the family.
Oh, are they a married couple? Oh, goodness. So Jessica's friends, Cormac and Stephanie Flanagan, a couple both lost their fathers in 1 week. It's enough to try and support a spouse going through that, but to try and hold your own grief as well is immense. So we certainly hold them in prayer. Thank you. Other ways you can share?
Concern for prayers and thoughts of safety for Nancy Miller's family. Their Aunt Marguerite passed away, and they're traveling this weekend to take care of services and be with family.
In the not-so-great weather. So we pray for Nancy Miller and her family as they mourn the loss of their Aunt Marguerite, but also as they travel to make arrangements. And for all those who are traveling in horrific weather today, we pray for their safety as well. Thank you, Sharon. Other ways? Yeah.
Betty Lawler, a member of this church, who moved to Pennsylvania to be her daughter. That's away a couple days ago.
So Betty Lawler, who is a member of this church,
Her family were long-time members of the church.
but she's in Pennsylvania, or she was in Pennsylvania.
Her three daughters.
So we pray for the family and friends of Betty Lawler as they mourn her passing, and for all the lives that she touched here in this community and this church as well. Thank you. Other joys or concerns this morning? And let us pray together O spring of life, our thirsting spirits come each week to drink deep of your living water. Many of us come celebrating with lighthearted laughter, yet others of us bring bowed-down spirits that we have limited our capacity for gratitude. So we come to you, believing that you are the source of renewing hope. As we find ourselves in a new year, keep us from defining ourselves by the categories of our past as the blueprint for our future. Free us from ruminating remorse, nagging guilt, or clinging fears. Usher us into the sunshine of your grace as we invite the winds of the Spirit to sweep us in new directions. As we gather in this sacred space, we turn hoping to hear your word speaking deep into our souls. We spend much time wandering, disoriented, and unsure of our purpose in this world. There is deep within us the desire to live with purpose and passion. Be with us as we reach out with willing spirits, waiting with a sense of anxious anticipation to actually feel your presence, hoping that we might be able to hear your voice when we do. This morning we lift up in prayer John Kamba as he recovers from pneumonia, the family and friends of God's steady water in Pennsylvania, for the many lives that she has touched. For Stephanie and Cormac Flanagan as they both mourn the loss of their fathers, and for Nancy Miller and her family on the loss of their Aunt Marguerite, and as they travel today in this weather. We also pray for all those who are out in not so great weather, be it for travel or because their job simply requires them to. We ask for their safety. In prayer, we gather up our concerns and our burdens over our world and its challenges. Help us to discern what we are powerless to change, but also give us the boldness to risk changing the things that we can. Help us to pay attention to the attitudes that keep us from you and from others. Help us to turn to you, trusting that you will help us through our soul sickness to a new hope for deeper life with you. Grant us spirits that we seek to serve in our world, that we might make you glad today, and guide us that we might enter into our world with courage in the journey you have entrusted to us. With Jesus, in whose name we pray. Amen. that was innocent enough. So Stu is going to come and share with us an information. Again, wonderful.
Sorry again. I want to speak to those of you, any of you here today, who will be buying or eating food this week. Because I have for you a great way to help the church at no cost to you. Every week you may have noticed Lynn Jones ordinarily is out selling on their way into the coffee hour. They're gift cards for some of the local food stores, and so if you buy a $50 card, because you're going to use all $50 in King Cullen, say, 5% of that King Cullen gives back to our church. And you may not realize it, but this last year it added up to $1,000 that came to our church free from people who were going to buy food anyway. And so some of the stores that are participating in it are King Cullen, which apparently also includes Wild by Nature, Stop and Shop, and Best Market. A few years ago, we brought in $3,000 from that very same thing, and we're hoping that this year people will start getting back involved in it. So easy. Buy yourself a $25 card, a $50 card, or a $100 card. You get the whole value of it, but the church gets back 5%. It's a good deal. Let us give our deal.
Of your people, and let the called and redeemed of God say, Amen. joy that he brought to others, and remembering that the ordinary is transformed into the extraordinary each and every day. Go in peace. Amen.
Very good. Because they did morning and afternoon. Oh, we are. And I actually and now they want, only one phone, so we have it now, like that. Thank you. I forgot a couple of stuff. And she don't feel it. There will be a long
No coffee there, people? What's that way, huh? Well, you get zero lady, you can do that. Start bringing my own coffee cup. Huh? You start to try that, I'm going to start bringing my coffee. I own a couple of them. I'm rich.